Hello and welcome. Today's project is all about a question that came in from Steven on YouTube. He says, what is the best routine in the morning for someone who is suffering from anxiety? I need help. And I thought this was a great question because I haven't answered the morning and night routine problem in a while. And when it comes to the morning, it can be pretty tough when you are struggling with anxiety. Now, it's better to act differently first rather than to change your inner dialogue, because the amygdala, this ancient structure that initiates this stress response, this fight, flight, or freeze response, this overruns all other brain processes. So when someone is suffering from anxiety every day, their amygdala is active all the time. And it's better to shift your behaviors before you shift the inner dialogue, because since the amygdala overruns all other brain processes, when you start to act differently, it's like the mind starts to catch up and get the picture, and it starts to calm down. So in the morning, let's start the day off properly by facing challenges before the other challenges of the day. What do I mean by that? Well, in the morning, what you want to do is you want to show yourself that you can handle and tackle certain challenges, and that'll set you up for other challenges throughout the day, no matter what they are. So to an anxiety sufferer, just making the bed is a difficult task. But it's really important that you do it, because when you make the bed, you don't want to do it, right? But you're bypassing the voice that's saying, don't do it. Oh, this is awful and I shouldn't do it and let's do something else. You're bypassing that and you're doing it anyways. Okay, so there's one challenge. You make the bed. That's what I always recommend. You add order to the chaos, okay? An anxiety sufferer is in chaos. There's too much happening. And you need discipline. Well, how do you calm that 8-year-old irrational voice? Discipline. Discipline. And this means that you have to change your lifestyle. Discipline means you have to change your patterns, okay? So by making the bed, what you're doing is you're showing yourself that you can overcome something that makes you uncomfortable, uneasy, okay? Then you go into another room, preferably, and you sit and you write in a journal. And I want you to make a morning routine. I want you to make it 10 minutes starting off. If this is all new to you, write in a journal for a couple minutes, and then meditate for 5 minutes and do some stretching for the remainder amount of time. But I just want you to have this moment in your day, this sacred space, so that you can start to connect with your body. So many people are out of sync with who they are. They're not grounded. They're not comfortable in their own skin. They want to avoid any time alone with themselves. You whip out your phone, you watch TV, you indulge yourself in those pleasures that you love to indulge in, but you're not really there, right? You're not feeling really what your body's telling you, right? So in the morning, this routine allows you to get more in tune and more relaxed with yourself. There's that 8-year-old voice crying out in your mind, oh no, this day is going to be awful. What if this symptom is an illness? How am I going to get through this? What if this happens? What if I faint? And all of this stuff, it's exhausting. But remember, anxiety disorder, order that is disrupted. So adding order, and the best way to do that is a routine, right? And the best routine in the morning for someone with anxiety is to get up, make the bed, and then to sit and journal first thing. Now, also I want to backtrack a couple steps, and I want you to wake up at the same time, preferably every day, so that your circadian rhythm starts to regulate itself, and that helps, right? That really helps. You want the same sleep and wake cycle times. You want the same sleep and wake times. Now, when you sit and journal, it can be overwhelming because what do I write in this damn thing, right? The first thing I want you to write is all of the negative thoughts that come to your mind. Write down those thoughts. And what this is doing is you're fishing out. So imagine you're at the edge of a pond and you're fishing, and you catch the big fish that are eating the little fish, and you bring them up to the surface. That's what you're doing. You're bringing up the threats that are consuming you inside, and you're bringing them up to the light. And what you're doing is you're making them smaller when you do that, because what you confront that you're afraid of or fearful of or timid of, and you make the thing smaller, the threat smaller. And that's so important for anxiety sufferers, because that's necessary for desensitization, bringing the thing up to the light. And also when you do that, you're going to recognize that this thing is actually more silly than I thought it was, because I brought it up to the light. And that's the idea of making the threat smaller. And that is true. So when you write your negative thoughts down, you shift your perspective over them, because sometimes you say, hey, that's not as fearful as I thought it was. That's not as bad as I thought it was. Hey, I can manage that. So all of these feelings start to come up. So write down all of the things that you're afraid of, or what that's coming up in your mind. And then I want you to write 3 things you're grateful for. So this also changes your perspective over things. You start to acknowledge the little things in life that you haven't paid attention to before, right? You start to shift your map of the world, right? You start to expand on that a little bit, and you start to appreciate, I'm grateful for this 10-minute time here in the morning. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for, actually having a job to go to, or, the food that I have in the fridge, whatever it is. And then write down 3 things you're excited about. And why this is cool is that you start to attach different labels to different feelings, right? So the job, or the meeting that you have at your job, and you write down, I'm excited to challenge myself at this job meeting. You're shifting the frame, right? From job meeting equals pain, suffering, unbearable thing. You change that into excitement, something that I can overcome, something that can stretch me further. And so that's what I want you to write down. That's the structure of the journal. And you can shift this structure over time, but just keep it like that. Keep it like that, because the reason why so many of us don't journal is that we don't know what to write. We want to be perfectionists. We want to have the best grammar, all of this stuff. And that is no good, right? You want a structure. Anxiety sufferers need a structure. So keep it that way, and you can change it over time. Okay? So after you journal, sit and meditate. Relax, take deep breaths, listen to a guided meditation. I recommend you download the app Insight Timer. It's not a sponsor. I just love the app because it has thousands of guided meditations that you can do, ranging from different times, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. Just find something that fits with you. Chakra balances, or it could be morning manifestation meditations, could be body scan meditations. There are so many. Find something that you enjoy and do that for 5 or 10 minutes. And then after the meditation, I want you to just get down onto the ground wherever you are and stretch, right? Stretch the psoas muscle, because that tightens up, makes you a little more anxious, and kind of, releases a lot of the tension built up overnight. And then after the stretching, I want you to get up and I want you to start your day. Okay, that's the morning, right? Have a strict, tight morning routine so that you can face the challenges before the challenges, right? Another thing I want to mention about the meditation is that it's always important to walk through the day the way you want it to go. So if you're anxious about many things during the day, while you're meditating, I want you to imagine the outcomes you want to manifest. Do you want to have great posture? Do you want to be interacting with people, and smiling and, facing your symptoms head on? Yeah, well, visualize that, because you're speaking to the 90% of your unconscious mind. The unconscious mind understands images and emotions. So when you start to engage in the emotions of how you want the day to go, you speak to the unconscious. Oh, this is what Brad wants. You start to imagine the day you want it to go. This is what Brad wants, right? He doesn't want to be the victim and clinging on to all of these things. No, he wants to be this way. So that's really important. And then at night, what I want you to do is I want you to spend an hour before bed without any stimuli. No TV, no junk foods, no food in general before bed. And no conversations, no internet, no business things. Just spend that time to relax, okay? So what I want you to do is light some incense, take a hot bath, read a book, sit outside, enjoy a tea. Calming teas like lavender, chamomile, peppermint teas. I want you to maybe even take a walk, right? Spend that time unwinding and keep your sleep time the same. Try to. And when, I guess, half an hour before bed, start shutting off all the lights, and this signals the body that it's time to rest, and you'll fall into a sleep. Also, when I used to have trouble sleeping, I would put on different sounds, like binaural beats. You can find those on YouTube. You can find sounds of rain falling, ocean waves, or I used to listen to my mentors before I went to bed. So I'd listen to a anxiety podcast of someone talk, like an example would be one of mine. Something like that would help me to, well, I didn't listen to my own podcast, but you know what I mean. Listening to a coach talk about anxiety, talk about what you can do to overcome anxiety. That helped calm me down a bit, because I was getting the information to help me put myself in information towards my higher self. And so the relaxing things like that will help move you into a nice sleep. And that's where I'm going to leave you on today's video. I was thinking, do I have anything else that I want to say? And I think that if you are currently suffering from anxiety, what you want is to calm down the system. The brain might be chattering loudly, but you need to change your behaviors and thus add more discipline, right? Have a routine. Start to engage in that sacred time with yourself, and do not let anxiety define who you are. I will see you on the next video. Bye for now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell so that whenever a new video of mine appears, you will be one of the first to know. Namaste.